Good evening. This is Andy Bills, Vice President for Enrollment at High Point University. It's a pleasure to be here at Experimento and to speak with you this evening. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions throughout the presentation. If you'll make sure you fill out any information that Experimento will need to be able to contact you afterwards so that we can answer your questions, then we'll make sure to follow up. I first want to talk about higher education in the United States, and then I'm going to get into High Point University. Uh, in the United States, there are several terms that are used to describe higher education institutions. And tonight we're predominantly going to be speaking about colleges and universities. And in the United States, we use those terms interchangeably. Uh, Sometimes we refer to the best colleges in the United States, and that includes universities as well. There is a term called community college or technical college that is a two-year institution basically to train someone for a trade, to be an airplane mechanic or an auto mechanic or something of that nature. We're not speaking of those this evening when we talk about colleges. Some of the best colleges in the world are not universities, but they are colleges. For instance, in the Ivy League, where Harvard and Princeton and Yale, there's a college called Dartmouth College, very fine college, focused on helping students in their predominantly their first 4 years receive an extraordinary education called a bachelor's degree. The difference in a college and a university is universities also grant bachelor's degrees, but they go beyond that and they also grant doctoral degrees or doctorate degrees. And so there are fine colleges and there are fine universities, all granting that first 4 year bachelor degree. Now, the difference in a private university or college and a public university or college is important to understand as well. In the United States, the state governments of the 50 states all have created state universities to predominantly educate the large number of people from their own state. 80% on average of the students at any state university come from that very state because the taxpayers are paying and helping subsidize the cost to attend those schools. So, what that means is that universities in the states were the state universities were built to educate a large number of people. The state universities typically are from 20,000 to 60,000 people in those state universities. That means your average class, especially in your first and second years at those state universities, can be very large. You can be in a class of 100 to maybe 500 students taking one class studying one subject. So it's very difficult to get personal attention, to raise your hand in class and ask questions. You're pretty much on your own to get the information you need and prepare for the next class. Very different. Very different than a private college. A private college normally is between 1,000 and 8,000 students, and the average class size, instead of being hundreds of students, is about 20 students in a class. High Point University is a university of about 5,000 students, so our average class size is 17 students. So you receive much more personal attention. The faculty members do care that you're in class, and they do know if you're in class or not. You have to go to class, and you have full access and availability to the professors who are teaching the class. You can meet with them before class, and ask questions, or you can meet with them after class or anytime that they have availability during the week. So that's one of the main differences in a state university and a private college university is really access to that faculty member who has the wisdom and who can be a mentor for students. So High Point University is a university that grants doctoral degrees, but we're a private university, very student focused, and students have tons of access to the educational platform there at High Point University. So US News and World Report is the most recognized ranking agency in the United States, and they come out every year. It comes in September. It just happened a few weeks ago. A listing of America's best colleges. And there's that word again. They're actually ranking 4,000 different colleges and universities that are granting those 4-year bachelor degrees. And High Point University was ranked again number one college in the South, in the southern United States, from Virginia down to Florida, kind of over to Texas is the southern region. And we scored a perfect score of 100 for excellence in the way we educate our students. They also came out with another ranking this year called Most Innovative. That means most creative, most um, cutting edge, most creating new ways to better educate students. And so we're very proud because we do a lot of innovative things at High Point University. We have a pristine campus. It's a campus that was ranked number 5 in the United States out of the 4,000 colleges, just behind Stanford University and Yale University's campus. And when they were ranking the best campus, they were ranking everything about the campus. They were ranking the quality of the academic facilities, the quality of the faculty, the quality of the technology, the quality of the student centers where students study and hang out and eat and where they play. And they rank the quality of the residential facilities and the quality of the campus as a whole. High Point University's campus is about 400 acres, and it was also ranked one of the top 10 safest campuses in America. We're one of the few campuses that has a gated perimeter and a secure perimeter. So those who are supposed to be on our campus are there, and those who are not supposed to be are not allowed to come in. So I know that parents all over the world are always concerned and want to make sure that their student is safe. And we have that same concern and want to make sure you don't have to worry, students or parents, about safety and security. In the United States, your colleges and universities predominantly are residential as well. That means students live right on the campus. High Point University has fabulous housing for students, and 99% of our students, their first 3 years, live on campus, and 93% of students all 4 years live right on campus. And our campus housing has been ranked very highly as well. We have 14 different restaurants for students to dine, including 2 Starbucks, a Jamba Juice, and a 5-star steakhouse for students to enjoy filet mignon, Atlantic salmon, tomato basil soup, creme brulee, etc. And hold on, parents, I'll explain why we have such a nice steakhouse. High Point believes in educating the whole person. We have a 3-pronged approach to higher education. We believe that at minimum that a higher education institution ought to make sure that every student has an opportunity to become proficient or somewhat of an expert at their discipline called a major. But that's where many universities and colleges stop. High Point goes beyond that to the second pillar of our educational foundation, and we weave experiential learning into everything that we do. So students are not just in a classroom learning, but they're in a studio, they're in a lab, they're doing research, they're doing internships, they're experiencing what they're learning and getting their hands involved and really doing what they are passionate about and what they love. And the third thing that is very unique and very innovative, and one of the reasons we were ranked most innovative, is that we spend 4 years for students who come to High Point for 4 years. We spend 4 years helping students develop the life skills necessary to take that knowledge and take that experience and be ready to be successful in life. And you may ask, what are those life skills that High Point works on? Well, we work on students becoming great communicators in every form today, and there's so many forms and ways to communicate. We help them develop skills to build wealth in this world. We help them understand how to handle their own personal finances. We help them learn how to manage their time and manage their energy and how to get results in everyday life. We also, at the steakhouse that I mentioned earlier, we work on students' fine dining etiquette skills and their fine dining interview skills. So when it comes time to interview for that internship or that job or that graduate school spot, we want to make sure our students can outcompete other students at other schools who are not getting this type of education. And so we bring in dining etiquette experts to help our students prepare for those high-level interviews with top CEOs of corporations or top graduate programs so that they are confident in those situations. They know what to wear, they know how to act, and they outperform and succeed in getting those placements in those jobs. High Point also is a school that has a foundation based in the liberal arts. And so let me explain what that means. It's a wonderful free experience for students because they do not have to enter High Point University or college in the United States knowing what they want to study. Some certainly do, and that's great. We embrace that. But many others at 17 or 18 or 19 years old are not sure exactly what they want to study and what they want to do for the next 50 years of their life. That's a big decision. And so we allow students to explore the first couple of years under our guidance uh, in a curriculum that has 30% of their classes in what we call the liberal arts. So let me explain what that is. The liberal arts stems not from the United States, it actually stems from the 13th century in Europe. And liberal referred to liberales or free, the word free, a free citizen who was not a slave, not a laborer, but someone of a higher standing who should be highly educated. And there were 7 foundations that a highly educated person should understand and should study. And there were 3 originally that were the foundation, and then after the 3 were mastered, then the other 4 were added on. And those 3 were first grammar. So a student must master and learn how to use proper grammar in their native language, speak fluently, speak confidently, speak properly. And so the second one was logic. Learn how to think logically, how to connect thought between different ideas and make logical and intelligent decisions. And the third area was called rhetoric. Rhetoric. So rhetoric means being able to write well, to express yourself well, to do research and then write about it and explain about it and write persuasively your thoughts and your ideas. So once a student had mastered those 3, then the next 4 were added. And the first one was arithmetic, learning how to master mathematics. The second one, back in the 13th century, was music. Music was the art of the day, and it was learned early in that 13th century that an intelligent person had 2 sides of the brain inactive, uh, and they needed to activate both the mathematical or scientific side of the brain and then the creative, artistic, or musical side of the brain. Today, we call that side, and we have courses in what we call the fine arts. So students study music, theater, dance, or art, or studio art, painting, sculpting, drawing. They study at least one course in any of those four areas. And the third or the sixth um, foundational area was geometry, so higher level mathematics. And then the fourth on the second tier, or the seventh overall, was science. And back in the 13th century, it was astronomy. Today, it's chemistry, biochemistry, biology, physics, astronomy, of course, also. So students take at least a course in those sciences. So at High Point, or any school in the United States that has a liberal arts core, students are taking courses from each of those areas during their first couple of years, and 30% of all the courses they take in their 4 years are from these liberal arts core areas. This allows them to be very flexible in the direction that they study going forward, and have the ability to use intelligent thought and connect thought and ideas across different disciplines, have conversations with just about anybody on different subjects that cover all those 7 areas. And so 40% of our students' classes are in a specific major that they choose. Now, High Point has 47 different majors and 51 minors, and I'm going to get to what a minor is in just a second. But 47 majors, they have a lot of different choices in majors. And so how do they choose? Some students, as I said, know exactly what they want to study. They come in and they say, I want to study international business or finance or chemistry or psychology or communication, whatever that they choose, and they go in that direction and they do well and continue. And others don't know, and so, or they start in one direction and then they say, you know what, I really don't like this area and I want to change. And they can stay at High Point University, and we help navigate them through these changes and through these decisions. We can even do a academic personality strength test with them to help them determine exactly the courses that they like, where their academic strengths are, what they're doing well in, and then map those to majors that would fit their personality and their strengths and their performance well. And we go beyond that and then map those to careers that they could go into using these certain majors. So we call that our Office of Career Development, that helps them um, map out their future career. High Point also has freshman success coaches, first year success coaches, that work with our students to help them set the courses that they should be taking so they can stay on course to graduate on time and in 4 years, and use um, the classes that they're supposed to take, use them well. And so I've talked about 70% of the classes. I've talked about the 30% in the liberal arts, the 40% of the classes that would all be in their major, and then there's 30% of the classes that are electives. So they can choose between any of these other 47 majors, and then there are a few others. There are 4 others that are minors, so they can have 51 different minors that they can choose from. And a minor is an area that they enjoy, but they don't take quite as many courses as they would in a major. So they can, for instance, study international business and then minor in psychology if they want to know how the human brain works and how the human thought process works. Or some students will study corporate communication coupled with business, or coupled with uh, science or biology or pre-medicine. And that allows them to improve their communication skills even further. Or human relations. How do individuals interact with each other? How do leaders best perform? How do people's personality affect how they behave and how they interact with other people? So there are a lot of great courses that students take in that other 30% that allow them to become very well-rounded and very well educated. And so the foundation of High Point is the liberal arts foundation with the academic major coupled with one or two minors they could take and explore, and then again 4 years of life skills that we help them develop so that they can take that knowledge, take those experiences that they have, and we can develop the life skills so that they're prepared to be successful in a ever-changing global marketplace. We know that the marketplace is changing and it's going up and down, and new technology is coming into play every year that sometimes disrupts a certain segment of the business or everyday working population. For instance, let's talk about videos. We all used to go to a video store and check out a videotape and bring it home and put it in a videotape machine and watch a movie. And then a company called Netflix came about and decided with the internet you could stream live video and movies anywhere in the world, any time of the day, on any mobile device or computer that any human being had. And it totally made movie videotapes obsolete. And so our form of education is helping prepare students to be relevant and adaptable and have a broad base of knowledge so that they can navigate a very competitive, ever changing marketplace that they're going to go into when they graduate. And so High Point's campus, as I said, is 400 acres. It's a beautiful campus. It has lots of beautiful green space. And in the US, the campuses are residential. So our students do live there 24 hours a day. And they're allowed to come and go and leave campus and come back on campus. But because we have over 4,000 students living on campus, they have lots of things to do. So when they're not in class and they're not in labs or studios and they've done their work, then they want to have some fun. So we have lots of things for them to do. We bring in major concerts onto our campus for students, and they're free for students. And we have a two-story fitness center for students to work out in. We have 5 swimming pools on campus in the residential communities for students when they have done their work and they're just want to hang out with their friends and enjoy student life, then they can do that. We also have over 100 student organizations, and that's the beauty of students living on a residential campus is they get involved in campus life. They get involved in organizations that they have a passion for. For instance, we have an international club. We have a investing club for those students studying investments and finance. We have an entrepreneurship club for those who want to build and grow and learn how to build their own business. We have, of course, a pre-med club and a pre-law club, and there are 100 of them. So there are many, many clubs out there. Radio, TV, film clubs. So lots of different clubs and organizations and musical groups for those who enjoy playing instruments or singing. We have a full music and a theater major for students, both vocal and instrumental. So there's just tons of things to do. We're also Division I athletically, NCAA Division I. So we have 16 Division I sports for students who are at the highest level athletically. And those sports are things like soccer, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's lacrosse, men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball, men's and women's track and field, men's and women's cross-country track, men's baseball, men's and women's golf, etc. So there are tons of Division I sports, but not all students can play at that highest level, and they want to still compete athletically if they're a good athlete. And so we have 24 club sports. So those are students who are very good athletes, but still want to be a college student. And, Division I athletics takes about 20 to 30 hours a week just on your athletic practice and games and travel. So students who still want to compete can join a club sport And there are more club sports than even Division I sports. So all those sports I mentioned on the Division I level, we also have on the club level. Plus, we have uh, an IHSA, which is a national competing equestrian team that are students who are equestrian riders that want to compete in hunter jumping and competing and eventing. You know, we have that. We've got a beautiful horse farm about 10 minutes from campus for students to ride and practice and compete. We also have a beautiful lake where students row and they are on a club crew team. But then they travel and play other colleges and compete against other students at other colleges. So the competition can be very, very good. And they do have professional adult coaches that coach those students. So lots of student activities, lots of things they're doing. Our students also are serving others. We believe in modeling values and building character. We know, parents, that you've spent 17 or 18 or 19 years bringing up your student, teaching them values, helping them to make good decisions, and we want to continue that at High Point University. And so modeling values, building character, serving others is something that is a part of our community. Our students did over 100,000 hours of serving others in the community last year in all sorts of ways, whether it was serving those who were hungry or those who needed housing. My son was involved when he was at High Point University with some of his friends in building houses for families who didn't have homes. And so our students do tons of things to help others. So that's, I think, a marvelous thing that our students are involved in. There are also just some key things to notice about our campus. If you go online and go to highpoint.edu and watch videos or look at photos of our campus, that it's beautifully lit at night as well. Because we're ranked one of the safest campuses in America, it needs to be safe 24 hours a day. And so the lighting is beautiful, but it's really to make sure that there are no dark areas on campus and students feel comfortable walking across campus at any time of the day or night, because who knows when they want to get up and study and they're inspired to go to their lab or studio and do some work. So I want to just recap what the High Point University advantages are and some of the things we've discussed tonight. High Point University is a private university of about 4,600 students. We'll grow to about 5,000 undergraduates and 1,000 graduate students over the next 4 or 5 years. So 6,000 total is as large as we want to be. And we think that is a perfect size to have big school facilities, fabulous faculty, but still have a very personal approach to learning, where students can get help and they can ask questions and they can get involved and they can really experience, their learning. And remember, our academic model is based on three things. It's based on academic excellence, making sure that students have an opportunity to become proficient and almost an expert in their discipline. We weave experiential learning into everything they do. Students who are there for 4 years also have an opportunity to take a full semester and travel and study at one of our partner institutions all over the world. We have several partner institutions right here in Brazil, but we also have them all over the world in almost every continent. So it's a great way to further their global education and see more of the world while still gaining credits that apply to their graduation requirements at High Point. And then, of course, we develop their life skills, and that's what we call holistic education. Again, we have 47 majors, 51 minors for students to choose from. Wonderful, wonderful classes to help them get a well-rounded education. Our faculty who are teaching them teach every class. There are no assistants or graduate students teaching class. So students have access to these experts who were educated at some of the finest universities in the world. And that's another major difference between a state university and a private university is often at a state university, some of those classes, a student's first or second year, may be taught by a graduate student or a teacher's assistant, and they really don't get the full professor because that professor may be teaching in the graduate school and not in the undergraduate area. We hire professors who are outstanding in their field, who are good at connecting with students in the classroom, and that's where we put them. Our campus is beautiful, it's safe, it's inspiring. We have, we believe that education should happen inside and outside the classroom. So as students are walking around our campus, they're going to see educational opportunities all around them. There are flags from all over the world, 52 different countries where our students have come from over the years. There are over 24 great thinkers in history, seated in bronze on some of the benches around campus. Things and folks like Archimedes, like Leonardo da Vinci, like Galileo, like Madame Curie, etc., just to inspire students to do great things and to achieve extraordinary results in their life. We also have a very safe and secure campus, so students and parents never have to worry about that. Another safety feature is that we have our own transportation vehicles and drivers, and so all of our students who attend High Point, and 80% of our students come from outside of the state of North Carolina. They actually come from 47 states and over 37 countries around the world outside of North Carolina. And so we provide free transportation to all major airports in North Carolina. So if you put your student on an airplane in Sao Paulo and they fly into the United States, into North Carolina, we're going to be there waiting for them, making sure they get to our campus safely, and when it's time to fly back home, safely back to the airport, flying back home. Residential living, I know, is a different concept in Brazil, but our housing was voted #1 housing in the United States, and it's a good tribute to how nice our campus living is and how many opportunities and how our students love living there, that 93% elect to live on campus all 4 years. And finally, we're very student focused. We have lots of support at High Point, being a private university, for our students. I mentioned their freshman success coach that not only helps them with their academic schedule, but also is their life coach. It helps them to, on any other issue, getting connected all across campus, helping them if they get homesick, which students an hour away or halfway around the world may experience. And we have support for them and folks for them to talk to, and psychologists right there on campus. They also have a student who's a peer mentor, who's an upper class student who has been through the same things that they've been through coming to another state or another country to study, and they help guide them and help them feel at ease and they instantly have a friend. And many of our international students have an international peer mentor to really help them. And we also have a director of international student services and ESL, and Marjorie Church is that person, and she sort of becomes their international mom when they're there. So that helps students when they want to ask questions, if they want to get a cell phone or they need to find food that may be native to Brazil that they're missing when they're there. Marjorie helps them with all those things. So in a nutshell, that's High Point University. We're looking for great students who want an international educational experience, who want to come to a first-class university that's highly ranked, very inspirational, and very safe and secure. So I see some questions here. So I'll move into the question phase, the answer phase. So let me see what questions have been asked out there. And before I answer all the questions, if there are more questions that I can answer in this time frame, then we'll make sure to follow up with an email to answer those questions. We will also send you, all those who completed the information online, we'll also send you an email within the next week that will have a link to a video about High Point University that you can view online that will give you a real feeling of what High Point University is about and how our environment affects the students who study there. So I see that Marcos has asked, what are the deadlines to apply for the course starting in January 2016 and September 2016? So yes, the deadlines to apply, we do have two start terms. One is August, around the 20th. So students just started about a month ago, and the other start term is around the 10th of January. So the deadline to apply um, is probably going to be posted online of about October 1st. And so we're very close to that date for students who want to enter in January. We can be a little flexible, but we must have 100% of your application and all your documents and everything completed no later than the end of October, so that we have time to make sure that we issue your I-20 and your immigration paperwork is in place, and then we can help start working with all those students for January on the classes that they will take, and make sure that we help place you in the right level classes. We have, of course, students coming to study for 4 full years, and we also have a study abroad program where students can come for just a semester and study, and then come back to Brazil. Or many of them, once coming to High Point, ask me about midway through the semester, can I stay next semester? What do I need to do? So we work with students who like it once they're there and really want to stay further. So I see Nicolas says, if I'm doing high school in the United States, is it easier to join High Point? So certainly studying high school in the United States is going to help your English skills. And that's one of the requirements. You must have a TOEFL score of around 80 or higher, or an IELTS score of 6 or higher, to be ready for college level work, so that you can not only speak English, but you can write English and you can understand it, and so that you'll do well in the classrooms when the professors are speaking English. So that's certainly coming to America, experiencing the culture at a high school, improving your English skills certainly will help you in your application process to High Point. And so our next question is from Marissa. Marissa says, is there an age limit for candidates to join the exchange program? Now, Marissa, are you a parent? We have lots of parents who say, can I stay? Can I come too? Certainly, if you have the prerequisites to be admitted to High Point, there really is no age limit if you would like to come. Most of our students are traditional age, however, from 17 to 25 years of age, but we certainly can work with any adult who has the qualifications and the prerequisites that we require. So I see Felipe has a question as well. Do I need to take the TOEFL test? If so, what is the score that I need to show in order to apply for the undergraduate course? And of course, I think I just covered that. So really an 80 or higher TOEFL, or 6 or higher on the IELTS. And you must have either a TOEFL or an IELTS score, or take the SAT. We don't require the SAT if you have the TOEFL or IELTS as an international student. Now, our students from the United States, we do require them to take the SAT or the ACT. And I know the ACT is a test that most all colleges and universities in the United States accept now. And I understand that the ACT is coming to Brazil, so students can take either one of those two if they would like. So I see Roseanne has a question, and she says, this only applies to undergraduates this only applies to undergraduate students. I'm finishing my undergraduate in Brazil. Does High Point offer master's or postgraduate programs? Great question, and we certainly do. We offer a master's in business administration. We offer a master's in strategic communication, which is corporate communication, advertising, marketing, public relations. And we offer a master's in elementary education. We also offer a master's in physician assistant studies, which is a field that you don't have here in Brazil, but we do. It's a very thriving field in the United States. It's just above a nurse, just below a doctor. So a physician's assistant um, requires a master's degree in the United States, and there are a huge demand for physician's assistants, and it's very competitive. You have to be a very good math and science student to qualify for physician's assistant program. Then we have three doctoral programs. We have a doctorate in educational leadership. We have a doctorate in pharmacy, so a PharmD it's called, Doctor of Pharmacy, and we have a doctorate in physical therapy. And so those are the three doctorates that we have. Okay, I see Lavina has a question. I already graduated. This could help me to get credits to do a new graduation or a new course. So if you already have uh, a college degree in some field, certainly you're going to get a head start on getting an education in the United States and a degree from a United States institution like High Point University. Um, Most universities in the United States, in order to grant a degree from them, like High Point, you would need to take at least 50% of your courses in your major at High Point University. And you have the liberal arts core classes that are required to take. So how do we help you figure that out? So what you would do is you would make sure that you send us your transcripts, and whether they're coming from high school or from a university here in Brazil, they need to be translated into English by a accredited translation company like WES is one that does that. And so they help us translate your transcripts and tell us what credits will apply when we evaluate them, and then we can do a full report on this is what you've already achieved. This is what it's going to take for you to finish at High Point University with a High Point University college degree. It says, this is a question. I do not have very good English to apply for graduation, just TOEFL or IELTS to apply. Well, we look at the whole student. We want a student to be ready to be successful on the college level. And so in order to do that, you must have those minimum scores on TOEFL and IELTS, plus you must have done well in your high school. And we understand that the high school secondary system places less emphasis on your grades than the U.S. system does. The U.S. system looks predominantly at the grades a student performed in the classes that they took, and then we weigh that SAT or that ACT test um, less heavy than we do the grades. So I know in Brazil that the vestibular is what is the important test, and grades are less important, but we want to make sure a student is prepared to succeed at High Point University. We want students to do well. We want them to graduate in 4 years and get their degree. And so we do look at the grades that you achieved in your high school or secondary school here in Brazil, but we go beyond that and we look at students who are at a more rigorous school, a school um, that is doing a better job of preparing students for the university system. We pay attention to where you went to school as well. I hope that answered your question. Okay, and then I see Lucas has a question. I have an associate's degree in marketing, 2.5 years. Can I study a minor in sport management? And so, Lucas, you certainly could study a minor in sport management. What you would need to do, though, is we would need to also have a major. So you could continue with your major in marketing so that you went ahead and received your bachelor's degree, your 4 year degree in marketing, and you could have a minor in sport management, certainly. So thank you, parents and students, for your time tonight. I look forward to connecting with you. Experimento is a fabulous partner of High Point University here, and they do an outstanding job working with students, preparing them for higher education across the world. Please make sure that you complete the information online so that Experimento can follow up with them, and I can work with Experimento to help you obtain your goals. Thank you very much.